Hey, what's up everybody? Clay here. I wanted to do a quick video, and by quick I mean like 10 or 15 minutes or so, for an AAR of a class I just went to, Shoothouse Operations and Safety with Presscheck Consulting. I've seen a lot of AARs from other classes that Chuck teaches, primarily no-fail pistol and some of no-fail rifle. But I haven't seen any videos or AARs of shoot house operations and safety. And I think that's because not a whole lot of people are going to them, or they don't know really what it is, and so, or whatever the case. But anyways, I went to it, figured this would be a good opportunity. I hate making these kind of videos because I'm not very good at them. I don't have the production value and all that stuff. But I figure for anyone that's thinking about it or on the fence about it, this might be the turning point on whether you should go or not. It's 3 days, about 15-hour days each, of some CQB instruction through the lens of how to do it safely. So it's instructor development and stuff like that, but you're also a student. So you'll be doing a fair amount of evaluation of your student peers. So that was really cool. Now, my intent is to kind of give you a brief overview of what the class was like, my experience with it, some of the stuff that I brought with me, what worked, what I would change differently if I knew kind of how the process went. So yeah, there's that. As you guys know, I'm a cop in my day life and I write by night, and I've recently gone back to patrol. Two of the guys that I used to work with all the time there at the range have been to this class before, so I kind of knew what to expect for some of it, but not for all of it. Now, here's the extent of my previous CQB training. I was on a small tactical team when I was in the military for a few years. We didn't have any mission, like real mission at all, but we did get to train a lot with our neighborhood FBI SWAT because we were federal. And the guy that I work with, who I commonly refer to as Renegade Actual, he fostered a really good partnership with them, and so we got to do a lot of stuff. And that was my real first exposure back in 2012 to 2016-ish of like real, no kidding, CQB, and I learned a lot of stuff from them. Now, they do stuff totally different than the class that I'm about to talk about. So it's theirs. SWAT teams are a lot of, limited penetration, pying thresholds, all of that, which is cool, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. But that was what I was used to. That's what I was taught. When I became a cop in 2016 full-time, it was a lot of the same stuff, and so that was very familiar. Now, fast forward, when a year after I got onto the firearms training unit where I work, I was sent to Hades Consulting, or I went to Hades Consulting on my own with another guy for a 2-day, I think, CQB class, and it's just a brief snapshot of some CQB. Now, if you know anything about Hades, they come from a very secret place that not a whole lot of people know about or talk about or whatever, and so they do things very differently there from the rest of the armed force dudes. So that was a real eye-opener in how at that point I kind of realized everyone else is doing CQB wrong. Like, they are the varsity guys, the unit that they come from, and the unit that Chuck Pressburg came from. They are varsity level dudes at a varsity level establishment, or whatever you want to call it, organization. So that was the first eye opener there. Now, they aren't near as in depth in their class, at least the one that I went to, in terms of individual evaluation. So they're not coming down on you super hard and grading your every move. Shoothouse Operations is Chuck's, nothing misses Chuck's view. I can tell you that right now. He is watching every single thing you do, and whether he mentions it or not is completely up to him. But if you were wondering how you stack up against those kind of people, like how well do I think I do this kind of stuff compared to them, this class will show you. And I can promise you this, there's no comparison. I don't care how long you've been doing this, unless you're a former unit guy. Like, this is really hard. It was very, very difficult, and the days are very long. So started off with some classroom stuff. We got to, after a few hours of that, we jump into doing some of the runs. Day one is very difficult. You are being graded very harshly over every little thing, and you should be. And that really sets the tone for what you should be doing. And you've really got to open up and really think about what you're doing step by step. And if you don't, you're gonna get air horned a lot. And every single thing that you do, you need to be thinking about the next stuff. So yeah, first day was like 19 hours or something like that. It was very, very lengthy. Now, in the course description, it had described that there's not going to be any kind of like real room or place or time to go and leave the training site to go eat. So I chose to bring a bunch of food with me. This is where I would have changed stuff a little bit. I thought I was bringing food for me and Renegade Actual and drinks for both of us, but he brought a whole bunch of his own. So I brought 2 coolers, a Yeti 45 and then like an Arctic 52 thing, and I really would have just brought one. And so because I ended up eating most of the snacks and not some of the meal prep stuff that I brought. So if you're thinking about it, just bring 1 cooler full of drinks and then bring a bunch of dry snacks that'll hold you over for the most of the class. It did me fun, and I eat quite a bit. Day 2, we start getting into the pressure isn't on individually as much, but you still have to do all of the things, and everything is graded. Excuse me for the cough, it's allergy season, so I'm dying over here. Everything is graded, you're still being graded. You're just not getting air horned as much when you make mistakes. It's usually caught in the debrief and brought up then. And also people are policing themselves a lot more and being a lot more cognizant of every individual mistake that they make. And so you typically don't see quite as much emphasis on that, but the pressure is still on. This is high level, very fast paced problem solving and processing. So if you are one of those people who are thinking about this class and you haven't been through a whole lot of like just manipulation, firearm manipulation type classes, it's not for you. Go to the firearm manipulations class stuff first. You've got to have all of that. That needs to be absolutely subconscious, or else you're just going to be way overwhelmed mentally for any of that. So days 1, 2, and 3, because they're so long, you're doing daylight stuff and low light stuff. And so if you are new to night vision and stuff, or new to white lights and how to use them, where to use them and all that, you need to practice up on that as well, and just get the basic stuff down, or else you're going to be slowed down considerably from people who kind of have a little bit more time under goggles or whatever. So especially all your controls, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So day 3 culminates with big picture stuff, and you're stacking every raid that you do is stacking on the next, so each individual skills. And so you don't really have a chance like, oh, I screwed that up, let me redo that exact same run. You've got to stay with the pace of the class, or you just get left behind. So here's what I brought. We'll start with guns first. I brought 2 guns, one for each of you. I brought my Hodge Mod 3. I typically have a Razor 1-6 on there, but I wanted something lighter and just more, I knew we were going to be doing night vision stuff, and I just wanted something more CQB centric. So I had snagged up one of these Duty RDSs, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have like a little riser, a little plate right here, just to get it up just a hair higher, because my neck was craned down a lot when I put it all together. And so I found that to be great. I was using a Maul and like a Surefire Turbo Mod Light kind of, mongoloid looking thing here, with the pressure pad, Mod Light, Mod button or whatever, momentary in the back. So all of my night vision stuff is set up that way. where laser up front and then I have to come back to the light. It worked out great for times that I needed constant white light. Just do the old Kyle Lamb, reach around and click constant on, worked fine. One of the reasons why I really wanted to use this gun, one, because I love it, two, the buffer system. For those that are using like the Sons of Liberty guns and stuff like that have the A2, or I'm sorry, the A5 buffer systems, those work real good for live fire and I really like them. But for sims, there's like a whole thing that you've got to do, like a freaking math problem essentially, to figure out how to get them to run, and a combination of springs and buffers and shims and little plastic. It's just nonsense. Hodges are meant to run off H2 buffers. Some of them, you know, you might need an H1 or whatever, but in just regular springs. If you put in a spring co yellow, which is the low power, and just a regular H buffer, it works fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So that's why I picked that one. All I had to do was swap out the buffer and spring, which I have ready to go, and then throw in the sim bolt and I'm ready to roll. These are all like airsoft guns as well. So Mod 2 airsoft gun that I had as a backup gun, never even broke it out. But same thing, running on the same buffer system, never used it, and so it was just there in case I needed it. Had a pistol belt that I had a sim pistol on. This is my pistol belt that I wear for running gun and stuff. So tourniquet up front, pistol right behind that, the old Winkler, and then Spiritus Gista for admin stuff, a couple of magazine pouches, and then my chem lights for marking rooms. So worked real good. Winkler got some character on it from this and all the other running gun stuff that I've done as well. And then I had a breaching shotgun that we brought because one of the guys at work really wanted to use these, and so we all brought them, and it was a lot of fun. It was really good getting some reps under this actually, and I'm going to show about how I wear it. And I actually underestimated kind of how useful the reps were with this if you wanted to mess around with it. So as far as my kit, I'm using a custom plate carrier that I had kind of put together. It's a Mayflower APC front that I have, and I have gone full OCD and figured out a way to rig up a LV-119 back. So the back of it, the whole plate bag and back panel is Spiritus, and the front is Mayflower. And this right here is about as perfect of a setup as I can make it, that I really enjoyed it a whole lot. So throw my kit on real quick. I have some 10 speeds up front, and I use those for whatever I need to put in there. Mostly I use these flashbang bodies that we brought along with us to simulate throwing flashbangs. Yes, I have the ones on my back, but those are for other people to grab. So there's times when you just need to grab a bang yourself and toss it yourself, and I wanted something that I could do, and I had one of this 10-speed 3 cells laying around, so worked out great. Magazines in the kangaroo pocket. I really like this, particularly because of how the front flap is locked down with my tubes adapters, so they're pulling the magazines into me, and it creates a really low profile situation. That's the reason why I don't like the Spiritus front so much, is because that front flap is independent of the tubes. And I know that some people love tubes and some people hate them. I find that they're pretty useful, but I didn't like how the flap was not being held down by something. So this kind of does the same thing, so yay for that. GP pouch on the side, I kept all of my batteries in there. I get a lot of heat for this, this stupid theorem thing that people say is overpriced and stupid. I only used it one time to change out batteries on my Maul. I have 3 18350s. I never had any of my 18350s die, no matter how much I was using that light, so that's pretty cool. This typically has 2 123s. Like I said, I replaced it. They've got new inserts for AA for my nods, and for AAAs for my ears, which, I had to use those as well, but we'll, actually I don't even have my helmet out here, but whatever, it's just a helmet. And so, yeah, batteries fit right in here nice and perfect. I have them on me for everything that I need, and it's very, very easy to get to. So no problems there. Axle cummerbund, I really like this. It's very sturdy, it's very structural. And so it held everything together nice and stiff and did a really good job with that. I don't really have any complaints there. So there is some instruction, there is some stuff with shotguns, breaching shotguns. So, and you'll get a chance to kind of like simulate breaching some doors after a certain point, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty fun. The way I have this rigged up is through like a bungee on this little carabiner hook, and I have that secured to my back panel here. So got my back panel with my banger pouches and my my GP pouch. It goes underneath through here and then locks down on itself. That I've got a little rig up so it's the perfect height and hangs the shotgun exactly where I want. So bang pouches, pretty self-explanatory. Flip it open and there's bang bodies in there. Cool. I didn't really keep anything in here except for a wind shirt, just in case. The nights were supposed to be kind of cool. This packs down real small, real lightweight, whatever. And I never used it once because it was so hot. We were just sweating our balls off, so yay for that. The shotgun, the way I rigged it up, a lot of people do it this way, and I figured let me try it and see how well it worked. And it worked out really, really well. Clip it in. I wanted it to hang just underneath my armpit. And here I would hook it around behind my pistol grip. And for a secondary mode of retention, I have this 1-inch piece of nylon kind of bungeed in there to kind of give it some stretch. All right, I don't know if you can see that, give it some stretch. And then I have a QASM buckle that just locks in there. And this shotgun is not going anywhere. I mean, we were moving, scooting quick, and it never went anywhere, especially when the pistol's there. It is completely locked down. There was one point when I was like running, sprinting down a hallway, trying to catch up to a team, and like just taking your elbow and pulling that gun into you and pinching that shotgun down. It doesn't move. It didn't really get in my way. Once we breached, we had some dummy rounds. Once we breached, I was able to also reload it on my own straight from this position, which topped it off so it was ready to go for the next one. So we come up to another room. I've got a couple of more in there and it worked pretty well. So yeah. Now, should you take this class or not? I think if you have an interest in CQB, you're a cop or anything like that, or if you just want to see how the pros do it, yes, you should absolutely take this class. It'll be well worth the money. Each day is somewhere between 15, 16 hours. And so on the certificate, it says like 42 hours of training, but it's really more like 48 or 50. And so when you price that out, when you price those hours out for the cost of the class, you're getting way more training value than for most of his other classes, which aren't quite as long. So now, can you handle that? I don't know. That's up to you. I don't know if you can or not. I'm 40 years old. I recently started getting back into some serious, like regimented, disciplined PT, and I did a couple of Mountain Tactical Institute plans to kind of help kick my ass back into shape, and it worked out great. I was fine. I was a little sore, but other than that, I was fine. Now, mentally, I was exhausted at the end of it. Mentally, I was done. I was absolutely cooked. So you and anybody who isn't, I'd say they're either a liar or they've been with the varsity level team for a long time, because you would just have to process so much stuff so often that unless you're doing something like that, yeah, you're going to be exhausted mentally. So yeah. Now, who shouldn't be taking this class? If if you don't know, if you don't have a firm, solid grip on weapons manipulation, like if you're a brand new shooter, like, yeah, I've been to a class or two, this probably isn't for you. And that's pretty much it that I can think of. Everybody else, you know, if you're trying to see whether or not your team, your SWAT team, your unit, whatever, is doing things correctly, this is a really good pressure test to see whether or not, you know, you guys are doing things the way they should be done if you have a mission for hostage rescue or whatever. Now, like being on patrol, I'm not on a tactical team or anything like that. Being on patrol, I'm not doing hostage rescue stuff unless it's absolutely exigent and there's no time to wait and I have to react now. And I typically don't have a team with me. There is a couple of guys that I work with on my shift that are really, really good. And, you know, I'm just trying to keep up with them. So unless they're there, sometimes they're not, you know, I may not be using this, but anywho, yeah, just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents. It was an excellent class. If you've trained with Chuck, expect the same level of Chuckism stuff. So it's really good, and you get a lot more of it and very in-depth look at how to CQB the way CQB needs to be done in order to be the most effective, to save the most amount of people. And I can promise you this, it's way harder than you think it is. Way harder. So you need to have all of your basic stuff locked down before you come to this. So really worth it. It's like $1,200 or $1,300, which is, in my mind, for 50 hours of training, 48 hours of training, it's pretty decent. So yeah, anyways, hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've been to it, if you haven't, if you want to go, you don't care, think this is stupid. Also, you can get a copy of Renegade Immortality on my website, my book, which has a bunch of really cool CQB stuff in it. From guys that, there's a character that's former Tier 1 Special Missions Unit kind of guy. So, anywho, get a copy of my book, Renegade Immortality, at ChristopherClayAuthor.com. You can also find it on Amazon, but I get more money if you go to my website. So, same price for you. Gets me more money in my pocket, so that's kind of cool if you choose to do it that way. Anyways, God bless you. There's purpose in pain. Don't ignore the pain. Give it the purpose it needs. All right, check you later.